Hey, Urban Grace, Pastor Matt here. Thanks for joining us for this online devotional. We start our online devotionals by taking 2 minutes of silence. This is a time for us to prepare our hearts to hear from God. So if you would join me in 2 minutes of silence. Jesus, we just thank you for this time that we can have together. We thank you for our church, and we thank you for all these people that have gathered here today to hear just something from your word. We thank you for how life-giving your word is. And as we look at this psalm, we thank you that it's all about you, and we thank you that we can learn something about you from it today. Amen. Psalm 16. Preserve me, O God, for in you I take refuge. I say to the Lord, you are my Lord. I have no good apart from you. As for the saints in the land, they are excellent ones, in whom is all my delight. The sorrows of those who run after another God shall multiply. Their drink offerings of blood I will not pour out, or take their names on my lips. The Lord is my chosen portion and my cup. You hold my lot. The lines have fallen for me in pleasant times. Indeed, I have a beautiful inheritance. I bless the Lord who gives me counsel. In the night also my heart instructs me. I have set the Lord always before me. Because he is at my right hand, I shall not be shaken. Therefore my heart is glad, and my whole being rejoices. My flesh also dwells secure. For you will not abandon my soul to Sheol, or let your Holy One see corruption. You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. So just a couple things from this psalm that has stood out to me as I've just been reading over it is that we have all we need in God. That everything we need to be satisfied is in God and God alone. David says, I say to the Lord, you are my Lord. I have no good apart from you. And even in this time when things are not as normal as they used to be, we still have a God who is enough for everything that we need. We have a God who gives us counsel. He blesses us with his counsel. He gives it to us in the daytime and in the nighttime. But sometimes we set ourselves up and we say that I set God before me And when I do, I'm not shaken. But David says that if we set him up before us, if we put him at our right hand, we will not be shaken. And then verse 9 kind of jumps in with verse 8, and you could have them together, and it could be, I will not be shaken. My heart is glad, and my whole being rejoices. My flesh also dwells secure. For God will not let us see death. He doesn't let Jesus see death. He doesn't let Jesus see corruption. He raises Jesus from the dead. We just celebrated that on Sunday. And you and I will also get to celebrate a resurrection, that our body won't see corruption. Our body will not see death. You and I get to see this path of life. You and I get to experience joy and fullness in this time. You and I, when we put God before us and He's right beside us, we are not shaken, but we experience fullness of joy. We get all of these pleasures. We can have joy even in this season because God is with us. God is our counselor. We are not shaken. He's always with us. He's always before us. He is God with us. This is a past, present, and future that God has been with us, He is with us, and He will be with us. Later, this psalm is quoted by Paul and Peter in Acts. Peter stands up before the group of people and says this in Acts 2. Acts 2:25. For David says concerning him, I saw the Lord before me, for he is at my right hand, that I may not be shaken. Therefore my heart was glad, and my tongue rejoiced. My flesh also will dwell in hope. For you will not abandon my soul to Hades, or let your Holy One see corruption. You have made known to me the paths of life. You will make me full of gladness with your presence. This Psalm 16, and verse 11 has kind of been this life verse for me. When I don't know what to do in life, I turn to this Psalm and I hear that God is the one who will make known to me the path of life. God is the one who will tell me which way to go. God is the one who will direct me at my steps. God is the one who will lead me. And when I follow this path in His presence, I have joy, fullness of joy, and I get the pleasures that only He can give. I'm satisfied in only Him and Him alone. We'll now stop and take 2 minutes of silence, and then I'll pray. God, we just thank you for today. We thank you for your presence with us. We thank you for the joy that you give us. We thank you that you raised Christ from the dead, and we have hope for also a resurrection. And God, we just thank you that you are all that we need, that you satisfy us more than anything else in this world. May our mouth rejoice, may our whole being rejoice in who you are. We thank you that when we put you before us and you stand beside us, that we are not shaken by anything. So may we walk today in that confidence that we're walking with you, that you are God with us. Amen.